Somebody told me that you don't have a mini pool trinket dish? What? Let's make one! I've been seeing these on my Pinterest and I thought it was the most adorable way to store jewelry, so I decided to make one. This craft is fairly simple to make, so let's get started. Start out by cutting out your desired pool shape. I went with a kidney bean shape and then cut out 2 strips for the walls of the pool. Next, slip and score those 2 pieces together. Make sure to take your time on this step just so everything is in the place that you want it and also to avoid cracking. Next, I used a clay tool to smooth out my edges, and I also added little bits of clay throughout just to reinforce my piece. Once I got everything to look the way I wanted, I started rolling out 2 coils for the ladder. I definitely experimented different sizes for the ladder. At first it was a little bit too long, so I shortened it and then it fit perfectly. I then added a really tiny coil in the middle to make it look like a little step, and then added lining around the edges to look like bricks. After this step, I was done with the sculpting process. I have to set this bad boy off to dry for about 24 hours and then it'll be ready for paint. Follow for part 2. I'll see you later.
I made with $8 worth of air dry clay.
Here's a tutorial on how to make these super cute clay magnets. I'm specifically going to show you how to do the pumpkin pie because I'm obsessed with it. I got the clay kit on Amazon. It was super affordable, and then all the tools are from Hobby Lobby. If I could recommend just one tool, it would be a spatula of some sort, just because it's super helpful for slicing and smoothing out the clay. The first thing you want to do is warm it up in your hands for a few minutes. This is going to make it a lot more flexible and easier to sculpt. And then just start shaping a thick triangle for your pie slice. I also got this color by mixing together orange and brown until I got the perfect pumpkin color. And now for the crust, you want to roll it out, and then you're going to cut along the pie slice that you already created so that it fits perfectly on the bottom. The most satisfying part is creating the twist for the edge of the crust, and then I took my spatula and just created dents to make it look textured. And for the whipped cream, you're going to make a tiny little white ball and then use the spatula to add some lines and make it look a lot more realistic. Each clay has different directions for what temperature to bake it at, but I did mine at 260 for 15 minutes. And lastly, to seal it in and give it some shine, I added some Mod Podge and super glued a magnet to the back, and it's all done. Let me know if you guys make some.
Today I'm going to show you how to stop your clay from sticking to the surface. Clay tends to be quite wet when you first take it out the bag, so spend some time working the clay with your hands to remove any excess moisture. You want to avoid working on shiny, non-porous surfaces and instead use a porous surface like plywood or MDF. You can also cover your work surface with some fabric like an old tea towel. Try to make sure it's not heavily textured as this will imprint onto your clay, but it can be smoothed over using a rib tool. I hope this helps, and make sure to follow us for more pottery tips. I charged $3,000 for these, and a lot of people have been asking why, and although I think the question is a little bit disrespectful, I'll answer for people who are genuinely curious. These one-of-a-kind wax monogram masterpieces are vegan, cruelty-free, and keto, and they also align your chakras. I rest my case.
How to paint air dry clay. This is one of the most common questions that I get, so I wanted to make a more in-depth tutorial. The first thing that you need is air dry clay that is completely bone dry. Do not try and paint wet clay. When you look at your dry clay, you may notice a lot of dust. This is just kind of unavoidable. I wipe everything down with rubbing alcohol, and still somehow by the time it's dry, it's covered in dust. This can be easily removed with a fine grit sandpaper. You can buy this stuff for really cheap, and I just cut it up into small little squares and very lightly go around and buff the surface of my piece. It looks much better. I never see other clay artists talk about this, but I really like to go in with gesso primer. It's just a porous multi-purpose primer that helps paint adhere to the surface of whatever you're applying with. It's really common in oil and acrylic painting on canvases, but I really like to use it on clay. It's made a big difference in the ease of application for me and has reduced the amount of really annoying paint peeling that I have encountered. I like to do 3 to 5 very thin layers and dry with a hair dryer in between. So let's actually talk about paint. This is my paint bucket that I have been building on for many years, so there's a bunch of different random stuff in it, but this is my go-to trio. I like to hand mix all of my colors as much as possible, so I just have the 3 primaries. Here's an example of what they look like on a finished piece. I just have this giant tub of acrylic white from Michaels. It's great, it's very thick. I think it was like 10 or 12 bucks, and it is safe for clay and for resin, which is great. I have also used a ton of this like 99-cent brand that you can get at Walmart, also I think at Michaels. I find that you have to apply a lot more layers with it, but it works great for the price. You can absolutely use gouache on your clay as well. I like to use this acrylic gouache. I have not tried water-based on clay, but you could definitely give it a shot. It works really great, especially for creating kind of translucent details, and here's my little collection of shimmery fun stuff, which is always good to have on hand. So once your clay is dry and your optional primer is dry as well, you can go ahead and paint your piece. That part is completely up to you. I did this Sleepy Sun design, which is a bestseller on my shop, and then the final question is to seal or not to seal. I do recommend sealing all of your hard work and creations. I like this gloss by Montmarte, but I have a bunch of sealant reviews posted and some different favorites overall. Yeah, but seal your piece, enjoy your work, and have fun.
Someone told me you don't have a ghost picture holder? What? Let's make one. I've been seeing these all over my Pinterest and my For You page, so I decided it was time to make one. You're gonna start out by rolling out some clay and making the top half a little more rolled out than the bottom half. Then once that's done, you're gonna want to scoop out its insides and start stretching out the clay so it kind of looks like a ghost. Once you have this questionable shape done, then you're gonna want to scoop out the insides a little bit more. And once that is done, you're going to want to sketch out the eyes, like I did here, and the mouth. I used my X-Acto knife to carve out the eyes and the mouth, but you're more than welcome to just use a toothpick. Then after the eyes and the mouth was poked out, I cleaned it up with the sponge, and cleaned it up even more with my needle tool. After that, the ghost should look like this. Then I set it out to dry just for a little bit. I did this so when I add the divot for the Polaroid, it doesn't squish my ghost. And after adding that, I was done. Now I just have to wait 24 hours so the clay dries so I can paint it. Thank you so much for watching, and go to part 2.
I spent 4 hours working on these last night and woke up this morning to find them cracked. What did I do wrong?
Only been a few hours, but it feel like days. Only been days, but it feel like months. Been gone for a year, only know like months. Life moves fast when you go where you want. I guess I'm going where I want.
This is my first air dry piece, and I think I'm really proud of it. It was hard, but I'm really glad of what I was able to do. A cute card extra.
Let me put my lips to something. Let me wrap my teeth around